Yeah, but so Stephen A, you're in a relationship with where you're doing a show together for how many years? 4?
5.
5 years. You're with this dude every day. You're seeing him in the mornings. You do commercial breaks. You're hanging out.
Sure.
And then the show ends, or the show ends with you, and he moves on with other people. And then, and I should say I like Stephen A, and I've always gotten along with him. I didn't love how he handled the aftermath of you leaving, where it's basically like, I told you the show would be better. I just thought, because I think you're really talented. Now, you and I have known each other for a while. Whether it meshed as a show perfectly, I don't know the answer to that, but I just didn't think that was the right way to handle it.
If you're doing a debate show and you're a competitive person,
yeah,
why would you want me as a partner? That's bad. You want to go 15 rounds every day with Muhammad Kellerman? That's just bad. It's embarrassing,
So you think that was part of it? He didn't want to put the time in? Or like just wanted a different type of show? What's your take looking back 2 years later?
I don't think it has to do with put the time in. It's, it's a debate show.
You're ready to roll on all topics.
You want to if you're, I have an idea. This is what I want to put on TV. I want to spar Bud Crawford every day for 15 rounds, and I want everyone to see it. Eventually, you're going to say, I don't want to do that anymore.
And you bring in some other people in a rotating cast.
Yeah. That's one aspect of it. There are others. In other words, that's what I could tell you from my point of view.
Yeah.
And I also think that if you make a calculation, that if you can be perceived as a solo act, really, that you can get paid at a certain level that you can't if you're not a solo act, then you'd like to be a solo act, or at least perceived that way.
Well, so like Mike and the Mad Dog are a good example of a show where it was the two of them together for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, whatever happened. Mike got his own show and he stayed on top for
Do you know who was supposed
6,
to be?
7
Do you know
years.
who he wanted to be in
Did you
Mad
get the
Dog's
call?
new position? Oh, yeah, that was the plan. I was supposed to go over and work with Mike, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I got the call. Who else got the call?
I don't know, but we had come to an understanding.
So you're going to leave ESPN and do it?
I did leave ESPN.
But not to do a show with Mike.
Yeah.
You did the show with Mike?
No.
So what happened?
My interpretation of what happened, my analysis is, I think he realized at a certain point, they're not going to make me take a partner. Why should I take a partner? Because I'm beating the hell out of the guys across town by myself. I think when he thought they're going to make me take a partner, then it was like, okay, well, I'd like it to be with that guy. And then when it was like, I don't need a partner.
Yeah, that's too bad though, because I actually think long term he did need a partner, because it's always good to have people to play off of.
Look, I don't need a partner either.
No.
But I like having one because I find conversations more interesting than just talking into the wind,
So over the years, you had Brian Kenny.
Yeah. Jim Lampley, Marcellus Wiley.
Marcellus for a while.
I had great partners. And in fact, I've become good friends with the people I work with because Bill, you know better than anybody. We're getting away with it. If you're in this business, you're getting away with it. Shh, pocket them. Shh, we're talking about sports.
Right.
And
you'd be doing this anyway.
Come on. It's your job as a guy, like an average American guy. It's your job to follow sports. It's literally what you have to do. You have no choice in the matter, right? You got to find out what's going on. And so how to make that experience even better? Hang out with your friends and talk about sports, right? Why would you not want to do that? It's interesting because Stephen A was the one partner I've ever had over years.
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel like a relationship was really forming. And I like to go to work and
you could feel a little bit watching it. And it was hard to tell how much of it was theater and how much of it was like, oh, these guys just don't get along in the same way, or
whatever you feel about who you're working with and what the situation is. To me, a cardinal sin is betraying that on the air. You should always be thinking about making the show entertaining.
Right.
And I do think it reached the point on that show where it was like, come on, dude, we the first priority is to make good TV.
Well, good TV is like professional wrestling, right?
Right.
Both guys have moves. You guys tell the other guys move.
Of course.
And I think we've all been in situations who've done this where you're with somebody or on a bigger show where people either selling your moves or they're not.
Right. Exactly right. But he's a showman. Like he would. I never had to worry about when the little red light came on that it wouldn't be a show, but it would be like you don't want to be undermined.
Is that a fun show to do? Like, did you like doing, what was it, 2 hours a day of just 5 days a week of having to react and just be like prisoner of the moment stuff?
The issue with that show is this. What is a hot take? A hot take is a counterintuitive conclusion that on TV, you're going to just state your conclusion. You do analysis about a subject. You come to a conclusion that's counterintuitive. So when you say it, people will be like, what are you talking about? Give me 90 seconds. I'll explain it to you. Oh, at least he has a point of view. If there are 12 topics a day and you have 12 hot takes on those topics, because by and large, there's a consensus about sports. This guy's good. This guy's not as good. Whatever it is. This team is in the right direction, the wrong direction. Whatever it is. The consensus is usually correct, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, some small percentage of the time, in fact, what everyone thinks is not true. If you have a counterintuitive conclusion about every topic in sports every day, you are insane. Like, Skip Bayless is very entertaining, and I always enjoy my interactions with him privately.
Yeah.
He's insane, right? Like, you can't, you have 12 hot takes a day? Unbelievable, right?
Right.
You've come to 12 conclusions that go against the consensus every single day that you're going to... But Stephen A. has no hot takes. Stephen A. almost never, I can't think of any counterintuitive conclusions that he ever reaches. That's not his job on the air. His job is to be the big reactor to a counterintuitive conclusion. Reactor. Just... He's there to hear the crazy conclusion that his partner has come to and actually be the everyman with a loud voice. Like, you are crazy, right? And do it theatrically. So there's a lot of pressure on his partner to come up with a counterintuitive conclusion about everything. Now, how do you do that? Well, you're just making it up. You're doing it for TV. No, what you do is you take a topic, and a good producer will start to drill down on the topic and say, okay, so you agree about this. So Mahomes is a great quarterback. But what does he do well and what does he not? And you keep going down until until you get a divergent opinion. Well, actually, I think he is good at this. No, I think he's good. No, actually, the most important player on that, we both think this is going to win. This team's going to win the championship. We both think this is why. Drill down. But no, actually, the key player is, other than the superstar, is this guy. No, it's that guy. Actually, Draymond Green is the second most important player on the Warriors, right? He's actually the pick and roll partner who does all the dirty work.
Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the NBA right now.
There you go. There's a counterintuitive conclusion.
Yeah.
But you keep digging until you get a divergent opinion, and there is your argument. But there was a lot of pressure on that show. Like Stephen A's opinion will not diverge into counterintuitive almost ever. So his big take will be, but he'll deliver it theatrically, is Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that God ever created. Who does not know this?
Yeah.
Everyone knows this. A counterintuitive take would be, actually, you know who the best shooter on the Warriors is? It's Klay Thompson. Because I'm making this up. I don't believe this. I thought it was Steph. But because when you say greatest, you have to talk about high leverage moments too. And I have more confidence in Klay hitting a high leverage moment 3 than I do Steph. Something like that, right?
Right.
That will never happen. So there was pressure on that show for me to keep digging until you hear something you think is crazy.
This is the perfect example of what you just said. Jalen Brunson is the best Knick of all time.
There you go. Do you believe that?
No.
Okay, then you can't say that.
It's arguable, though.
But you have to keep digging until you find the thing that Bill Simmons thinks is
but
actually
I'm saying
true.
On those shows, if I say that in a production meeting, they're like, that's amazing.
They'll go
that's
nuts. But
segment 2, let's do it.
But you should not say the thing you don't believe. You should stick with, and that's, so the difficulty with me on that show was it was a lot of work to keep digging until I said the thing that I believed that would also get a reaction.
But on top of it, they're telling you Cowboys, Lakers, Knicks, Yankees, like it's all the big teams.
For good reason.
Over and over again. That's the red meat.
You fish where the fish are.
Like right now, the Cowboys having a little run. It's perfect because it's actually reasonable to talk about them. I remember when I was doing Countdown, they're trying to make us lead with the Lakers all the time because that's coming from Bristol.
Of course.
Lead with the Lakers again. It's like, well, can we lead with Memphis? They're They just traded Rudy Gay and the team's better.
I would
it's
tell
a really
you, no,
interesting first
do not leave
They're
with
like,
Memphis.
no, talk about Kobe, Kenny Meg, how high can they get? And then we'd have to do that segment again.
Of course.
And that's kind of the ESPN Red Meat philosophy.
By the way, the first thing I said on First Take that drove everyone nuts was Tom Brady's going to fall off a cliff, right?
I remember that. That made me angry.
Yeah, and the part that I didn't like, and I apologized about it the next day, and they didn't like it on the show when I apologized, was I said he's going to be a bum in short order. But I was just being I was talking the way you talk in a barbershop, right? I didn't really mean I just meant a guy, a jag is what I should have said. But it was just based on every quarterback who ever lived.
Is this a defend your meme?
Yeah. Yeah. But I was wrong about that because on every quarterback who ever lived after the age of 40 or 41, they fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
He kept going. The odds were that I was correct in what I was
LeBron
saying.
right now.
Right. They're
odds
redefining
are
stuff.
He's just going to keep getting hurt, have small injuries, and his body's going to break down the way Karl Malone did once upon a time.
Correct. But when I said that about Brady, they loved it because that would get traction, right? Because you still remember it 15 years later.
Well, it's what can get cut
later.
into a social media clip, which unfortunately is a lot of the economy of these conversations.
Right. Like you say things on your podcast, I'm sure all the time, that get repurposed. And it's like, because again, if all you see is the counterintuitive conclusion and you don't have the analysis of how you got there, then you just sound crazy.
Well, a good one is like we always do the NBA over-under pods, which I've been doing since ESPN, where the wins, the over-unders.
Sure.
When you go over-under, you're hoping to, like in the NFL last year, I went 27-5, which will never happen again, right? This year, I'm probably closer to 17-15 this year.
It's still not bad.
But you're making the case for each team. You're not going to be right about all of them. And then if they, like I thought I couldn't figure out who the 7th AFC playoff team was going to be. And it was like Vegas, Indianapolis, Jacksonville. So I just went with new coach, Pete Carroll, following Antonio Pierce. Easier schedule. Maybe that's 9-8. I picked them.
Sure.
They're going to go 2-15.
Right. You
could cut out the argument I made for them into a clip, and it's probably going to be really bad. But you could also take the argument I made for why the Pats, I thought they could be a playoff team. You can cherry pick all this stuff.
But if you hear the explanation,
you can't go crazy about it, is my point.
By the way, let me say something else about that. If you do real analysis and you always come to the intuitive position, your powers of analysis aren't very good. Right? You're overly affected by group.
You're calling about it's like you want to have a smart zag every so often.
Well, I don't think you even have to look for it. Just